My name's Tony Bracken. I'm Assistant Director School Improvement in the Catholic Schools Office in the Diocese of Broken Bay. At a system level, it's really important that we engage ourselves in a reflective exercise within our own system of schools. So, for example, in Broken Bay, we will be continuing to engage in an appreciative inquiry about where the best practices currently are existing and to learn from those so that pre-service teachers are really seeing where schools are moving in terms of student outcomes and improvement priorities in the school. So they are actually legitimately working in that space as professionals. And in that context, the profession is learning from those new people with their ideas as well.
Our focus was always on our children's needs, and the Teaching Learning Consortium allowed us to focus on how we could best utilise second year students who do have some knowledge, who do have some experience in a longer term, 1 day a week situation where they could develop relationships with kids but also fill some of those gaps that we struggle to be able to do in our workday.
The main focus of it was developing my professional dialogue with teachers, so among colleague teachers and also with the school leadership. Throughout the program, we had those opportunities where we could sit down, discuss how the program was going. We'd have to monitor how the students were performing in the groups, and then we'd take that information back to the class teacher or to the principal or the assistant principal, and we'd talk about how the program was going, if it was actually benefiting the students, and if it wasn't, then we talked about how we could improve it so that when we arrived next week, we could improve on that and really help the students.
Well, schools are free to apply the TLC program in any way that they feel fit to benefit their learning needs that they have. So as a consequence, it can be involved in literacy and numeracy, targeting needs that the school has.
One of the advantages of the TLC program is that our students were able to go to specialist classes. So we are an EMU school, extending mathematical understanding. There are small groups, specialist groups of a morning before school. These pre-service teachers were able to go to those sessions. They met with our specialist teachers. They took away a whole kit bag of strategies, games, resources that they could apply to any classroom, kindergarten, year 6.
If the school itself is clear about what its purpose is and what its priority goals are, then I think it's in a position to communicate that to the pre-service teachers in meaningful ways so they can see where their contribution fits into the general direction of the school. And they can themselves be reflective about that and add value.
A high quality practicum experience for both school and for the pre-service teacher is one where there's an opportunity to develop a relationship. There's an opportunity to identify skills and needs in the pre-service teacher and to offer experiences that make them feel valued and give them the opportunity to impact on student learning.
Any professional experience program needs good coursework to go with it. The coursework has to be relevant, has to be related to the context in which they're working, and also has to teach the skills that are necessary. It also requires good feedback for both the pre-service teacher and also the supervising teachers that they're working with. We employ tertiary supervisors to go out, and they provide a lot of that verbal feedback, not just for the pre-service teachers, but also for the supervising teachers themselves. And many supervising teachers, because of that, look at it as a form of professional development in which they're able to develop their own skills in context of having the pre-service teacher working within the spaces that they're in. So that for it to work efficiently, it needs a combination of university, support from the university, the pre-service teachers, the supervising teachers, school leadership and system leadership.
So we were doing coursework that related to what we were doing on TLC, and before we went we had lectures about the importance of being professional, and they really focused on that professional dialogue between us as pre-service teachers and the classroom teachers and other people within the school community. And I found that really helpful because once I got to the school I saw that that was really quite a big part of what we were doing.
Many of our schools at the moment are recording against the standards, but not necessarily in traditional ways of observation with a teacher at the back of the room. It There's things like lesson inquiry, lesson study, collaborative inquiry, where the standards of practice can also be determined. The more that we collaborate and the more that we use data and informed by data, the more that we reflect on practice and have a focus on student outcomes. In other words, what is it that we're doing that makes a difference to the student learning? This brings then into the question of strategic resourcing. So we have to be reflective about current practices and inquire into those current practices as to whether they're actually influencing our priority outcomes, which is valued student outcomes.